What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about onboarding to a new job remotely. And I've got a new toy over here. I'm trying to figure out how to get the best audio quality output out of it, but bear with me. I hope that the audio quality is improving. Let's get to my tips on how to onboard into a job remotely. I've done this twice now during this pandemic, and it's a bit of a circus. Previously, I did it in my past company where I switched roles to the project management role that I did before my program management role now, and obviously now I've done it also to a different organization. I'm hoping that I can be helpful with these tips. If you've also onboarded to a new role during everything that's going on in the world, do leave a comment, share your experiences, and share your best tips so that we can all learn from each other, and hopefully someone who's doing this or about to do this doesn't feel so alone with their onboarding process. Let's get into these tips, get into the comment box, and let's do this. My tip number one is to use your new hire status and meet as many people as you possibly can in your first weeks, just to expand your network. The best advice that I've ever had in my career is not to know everything about everything, but to know who knows about what. And this is something that you can start doing in your first weeks in your new job. It might feel a little intrusive booking a ton of meetings with people right from the get-go, but I promise you it's not. Most people absolutely love welcoming new hires to the company and giving them advice on their onboarding process and who to meet. So do ask people who to meet in addition to them, so that you can, expand your network and meet a lot of new people while you still have the time to do that in your first weeks. Another reason why meeting a lot of people in your first weeks is actually kind of great is just the fact that onboarding trainings and introduction sessions might remotely feel like you're just being talked at all day, and at the end of the day you realize you haven't actually talked to anybody. So if you can slot in some time with your teammates or stakeholders right in the beginning between your introduction sessions and all of that, you had someone to discuss your onboarding with. Booking more casual coffee chats really has been such a huge helper for me in the past 3 months that I've been in my new job, just because it helps you build those more casual, friendly relationships with your stakeholders and the people that you regularly work with. Honestly, that's helped me feel like I belong in the team and in the organization. It's just nice to have those opportunities to talk to people without a specific agenda, and also, in addition to knowing what they are doing in their work, just to ask them how they are doing. My second piece of advice would be to start organizing information immediately when you get your laptop and you sign in and somebody pings you with a document or a wiki page with information that's relevant to you. Save it. Whether you prefer bookmarks, lists of links that are useful, or like my slightly freaky ass, I have an Asana Kanban board that has sections, so columns, for the work areas or teams that I work with, and then each Kanban task is actually a sub area of that particular section, and then in the description of that task I put in all of the documents and their descriptions because it's searchable, and so then it's easy for me to locate where I might have put the documentation for a certain thing, because it honestly, take it from me, because guess who's dumb? I somehow managed to not sync my bookmarks bar properly in Chrome when I had to switch my laptops about 4 weeks into my current role. Guess how many bookmarks I lost when that bookmark bar didn't sync to my new laptop properly, and I'd already given my old laptop out because they just did a switch when they delivered the new one. So I basically lost all of my bookmarked pages and documents that were the only place pretty much where they resided when I received that information and saved it. So you might think about a backup plan of some kind of cloud solution that your company uses, so that in the case that you have to change laptops or something happens to it, you can still access them without being afraid that they haven't synced. So there's that. Number three is a sweet and short one, but really take breaks, because the Zoom fatigue is real. And because in the beginning, when you're meeting up with people and talking to them and sort of getting information, a lot of it happens over VC calls. Just try and take breaks, like go on a walk, grab coffee, take your lunch away from your desk, which I never managed to do. But I did take a lot of walks when I was actually onboarding, and it really helped me when I did that around lunchtime, because then I could better just focus during the afternoon sessions that I had. It's a lot for your brain to process. You get a lot of information. It just helps when you move your body and get some fresh air and just get away from that. Tip number 4 is just ask the question. And this is because you're sitting at home with no one around, so you're not going to be just naturally coming across concepts and information that you would if you were just sitting with your team at your job at an office, but you're not. And so you're kind of missing out on all of that. And so you probably have more questions than you would if you were at the office, or you would get the answers sort of accidentally if you were. Just ask the questions. No one's going to be bothered. People expect you to ask questions, so it's a bit more odd, I guess, if you don't. And if you feel like you're pinging people constantly and you are afraid of your distraction, suggest that you make a document with any non-urgent questions that you don't need an instant answer to, and just log them in and then go through them with someone who can answer them, whether that's in a meeting or if you want to suggest that they do that at a time that is convenient to them. But basically just try and figure out a way to get your questions answered, and really just don't be afraid to ask them. And my tip number 5 is probably one of the most important ones, even though it sounds a little cheesy, which is just breathe and stay positive. It's really hard to onboard remotely when you don't have a lot of people around you. You don't get the validation from your team that you're doing the right things, when you can't meet people in person, which sucks. And you don't really know if your, teammates actually exist from the shoulders down, whatever exists below what you can see on VC or Zoom. And honestly, it's just sometimes really hard to figure out what's going on, and it's exhausting and frustrating sometimes trying to chase down answers when you don't really know who to go to, and you've already exhausted like 6 people and they just keep pointing you to a direction and you're just sitting home alone and it feels lonely. In those cases, honestly, don't be afraid to ask for support, because a year is a very short period of time for companies to also figure out how to do this remote onboarding if they haven't done it before. And so, they also want to know what they can do to support you. So just ask your manager, tell your manager, suggest what you might need or what would help you in your onboarding process. And don't be afraid to voice your needs in your team as well. Sometimes it's hard, but you can get through it and it gets better. Maybe in the beginning it's really frustrating and you feel like quitting once a week, but by the time you get to 3 months, maybe it's only once a month. I'm just kidding, sort of, but it's not easy. It's just make sure that you take care of yourself and take time for yourself as well. Don't overdo it and try and dive into work too early. Take your time and stay positive and get to know people. It's all gonna be okay, and hopefully we'll be in an office again soon if that's what you want to do. But those were my 5 tips for onboarding remotely. If you have any more, please leave them in the comments below, and let's learn about each other's experiences and make everyone's onboarding experience a little bit better for as long as this whole world situation lasts. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you found it helpful, hit the thumbs up button. If you would like content like this in the future about working, tech, project management, all things data, and productivity, hit the subscribe button. You know where it is, down below, the red one. You know it. And also put on the bell notification so that you never miss an upload. That's all, guys. I will see you in the next one. Cheers.